Hi. Good time zone to you. Over here it's morning, so I've got my second cup of coffee in my own mug. Would you look at that? The gutter sure tastes good. God. Okay. I mean, we're gonna try to make this video, but... Anyway, as we're coming into the end of February, I thought I'd sit down and film this to give you a bit of an update on my health situation. But yeah, if you are a patron or a studio member or a frequent Twitch chatter of mine, you may no doubt be aware of the health shenanigans, because I've been pointing people over to an open Patreon post that I've made where I've just been updating people on things for a few months. But if you are curious and you don't really know about stuff and you don't want to read, then have a seat and I'll just fucking tell you. Plus, it would be a great segue for me to go into talking about my current Kickstarter called Blood, which is literally inspired by the health stuff. So, you know, you can go and back that if you want at the end, if you don't get completely turned off by the subject matter that I'm about to talk about. Speaking of which, we have some content warnings. Yeah, I'm having pizza for breakfast. What? Okay, so first, I think I'm just going to give you like a TLDR. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, basically, I have a 10 centimeter dermoid cyst that appears to be stuck to, or has grown out of one of my ovaries and it's kind of enveloped it. And it is pressing on my organs. So it sucks, and I'm currently hoping to get surgery to have it removed. Emphasis on hoping. Should we have a chat about it? Oh boy. Right. So this has now been going on for about half a year almost. Hold on. September, October, November, December, January, February. Oh my god. Yeah, it's been going on for 6 months. No wonder I'm a fucking mess. Basically, I was just going to go and have a routine swap of my Mirena coil. And, you know, I've loved having the Mirena. It's been great. So please don't take this whole thing I'm about to tell you as like me dunking on coils. They are amazing. And if you are thinking of getting one, I think you should go and have a chat with a medical professional about it. Because for me and my entire hormonal makeup, it's been life-changing. And I can't imagine living without a coil in me. So, yeah. So I was just going to go and swap it. And it turned out to be not so easy. So I went in for the first time at the end of September, and it's just to my local GP's office, and I'm very lucky that I've got a GP who is incredibly nice and actually takes pain and stuff seriously. So I was offered special like gels and stuff down there that makes you feel like you've pissed and shat yourself all at the same time. It's great, but it numbs you. So I had that put in, and they basically, when they do the whole procedure, they have to take the old coil out first, obviously. So you are kind of there with your legs in the air, and they go in, and then they take the little... I'm not a doctor, okay? But basically what they do is that they take the the threads that come out of the end of the Mirena coil and then just go whoop. They just go boom. They just pull that sucker out straight out of your uterus. It's like being pinched, because I had painkillers. You know, I had that goo inside of me, so it pinched, and I kind of went ugh, and then they just chucked it in the bin, and they were like done, and I was like, thank you very much. So after that, they said, okay, we're just gonna try to put in the new one straight away, and I was like, brilliant, let's go, and they kept trying and kept trying, and they kept trying to the point where even with jelly goo up my fufu, it was still really fucking painful to have someone mess about in there trying to get this fresh coil up into my uterus, yeah? And they were like, they said something along the lines of, oh, Jenny, I am so sorry. I have literally fitted hundreds of these. This is the first time it won't go in. It won't go in. Do you want me to stop? And I'm there going, yes, please stop. So she like takes it out, and she's like, it looks like you've been like you're basically clamping up in there. And at this point, like, I'm having like adrenaline and everything, and my legs are just going and I'm like, okay, fine. And she's like, look, we'll let your insides settle, so come back in about a couple of weeks, and we will try again when everything is calmed down. And I was like, okay, fine. So I basically said thank you very much. We got an appointment for a couple of weeks after, so I walked out of the clinic, and you know, when you are kind of on like an adrenaline rush because your body has just had some internal trauma happen to it, I was light on my feet, and I just got myself an Uber, and I was like, okay, it's all good. I'm just gonna get an Uber home, and you know, we'll try again in 2 weeks. I do the whole boop, 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 get myself an Uber, go and wait outside of the clinic, and start to feel a bit funny. And then, like, everything just kind of goes very wobbly, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm literally about to faint. So I see the Uber coming up, but I don't really remember a lot, but like I see the Uber coming up, and then I hear the Uber driver being like, are you okay? And I'm just like, no. And as far as I remember, I basically faint against a brick wall, and the Uber driver grabs me and gets me in, but like bundles me into the car. And then luckily I only live about like 5 minutes drive from the clinic. So he starts like driving me to my home, and I'm in the back of the car, like going in and out of consciousness basically. And I say to him, I apologize to him profusely. And I basically say, look, I've had a procedure done at the clinic. And then I phone up my husband while I'm in the Uber, just going, honey, I'm going to need you to help me get out of the car when I come home, because I'm fainting. And then I basically hang up. I think I tell him I love him too, because I'm a fucking drama queen. So I'm just there going, I love you. Oh, fuck. Poor Uber driver. So the Uber driver is there just going, are you okay? Are you okay? Like checking up on me constantly, because I'm just going like, you know, eyes rolling back in the back of my skull, basically. We arrive, and my husband is outside of the house, ready to receive the package of distress. And he opens the door, and again, this is like, I don't quite remember this, so I've had him retell like what happened. He gets me out of the car, and he has to like drag me into the house. There are steps that go into like our front, to go towards our front door, and apparently when I went up the steps, I was screaming. He got me inside of the house, got me into bed, and I got the phone out and wailed at my husband going, "Tip him!" So we tipped the Uber driver. And after that, I don't quite remember, but I think I was just kind of out of it for a little bit in bed. But clearly, whatever had happened, like with someone fucking around inside of my body, it just completely just knocked me for a loop. So that was fun. So after that, I had to promise that when I went to do this again, there was no fucking way I was going to be doing that alone and grabbing myself an Uber home alone. Like, that's not happening again. So I went back. Oh, for fuck's sake. I went back about 2 weeks later, I think, and we tried again. Again, I'm having the gel and all that stuff. And she can't fit it. So she is trying her hardest and her damnedest to fit it. And I remember quite clearly, like one of the nurses being like, you know, to kind of keep you happy and whatever, or chill, they just kind of ask what I did for a living, and I was like, oh, I'm a comic book artist, and they're like, oh wow, that's really cool. And I was like, yeah, I make horror comics and stuff, and let me tell you, this is really inspirational. Yeah, they kept trying, couldn't get that sucker in. So I get a ride home, if I remember correctly. All of this is kind of a blur, but I get a ride home with my father-in-law, so it's all good. But there you go, 2 tries, can't get that fucker in, which is like very strange. So at that point, the GP was like, "Don't worry, I know someone." Dog is like, warning. Warning. I know someone. I'm gonna get you referred to someone who specializes in tricky coils. And I'm like, okay. So I get a referral to a 3rd place, yeah? So I've now had two times, you know, things being shoved and prodded in there. And 3rd appointment is in a different clinic that specializes in spooky, tricky coils. I meet this fantastic doctor who gives me not the gel that makes you feel like you've pissed yourself and shat yourself, but a foof spray. That is apparently something that they use for, you know, when they have to do the camera. I might have to close the door. He's a good dog. As I was saying. So this specialist gave me a foof spray that apparently they use when they put cameras down your throat. So there's like, it's the same kind of painkiller and like muscle relaxant, but, you know, redone in a way to go up your vagina. It's good shit. So she just went psh, psh, up my foof, and I was like, ooh. And then literally 30 seconds after that, she was like, okay, I'm going in. And I'm like, okay, go for it. So I'm there, and I just feel the tiniest little pinch. Like someone just gone like that on you. And then she's like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, what? So clearly, she was like a tricky coil specialist. Like, she lived up to her name. She was incredible. And she said to me, oh yeah, this was fine. Because I was like, was this okay for you? How was that? And she was like, no one's ever asked me that before. But yeah, she was like, look, it looks like your actual uterus is tilting to the left. Or was it tilting to the right? No, tilting to the left. Yeah, tilting to the left. And it's also dipped a little bit. So that's why it's difficult to get the thing in, because when you have to get the Mirena coil in, it's almost like there's a mountain inside of the person. I'm describing this amazingly, I know. So they have to try to get the coil over the mountain and then like twist it to try to get it in. Which was weird to me because I know that I've been having, smears and stuff, by the way. Go and have your smears. It's very important. And ask for pain relief if you need that, because they need to be taking our pain seriously. Anyway, so yes, I was like, that's very strange, because when I've been having my smears done, I have always had people tell me that, wow, your cervix and everything is like perfectly central. This is so lovely. It's so easy to do. And I'm like, thanks. So it was very strange that some would tell me, no, you're tilting. Like everything in there is like tilting to the left and just like a little bit wonky. And I'm like, okay. So I go home, and what follows is a long, long time when I am bleeding and I am in pain constantly. Now, I know that when you get a new coil in, it's expected that you are going to cramp because you've got a foreign object inside of you. So your body needs to get used to that, or it might try to expel it. More on that later. So basically, I was aware that I was going to be out of it for maybe like 2 days or something like that. But this kept going and going and going. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And like I kept bleeding, and I was like, but what's happening? It's not settling. So I, at one point, and this is where again, content warning, I at one point had, what I assume was the walls of my uterus be pushed out. So I essentially like appeared to just give birth to a little prawn baby. Which might be making an appearance in my next horror comic called Blood. Currently live on Kickstarter for the next, I don't know, probably like 10 days or whatever when this goes live. So yeah, I had to take a photo of a prawn baby that came out of me. And it was just like this congealed blood thing, and I was like, what the fuck? And I've been told that the Mirena coil can be expelled, so you have to make sure that it's not the coil that's come out. So I'm there, essentially having to dissect a clump of blood that's come out of me, and I'm just like, this is fucked up. So yeah. So I dissect it, have a bit of fun, take some photos because I'm freaking the fuck out, and I'm sending those photos to my GP going, this just came out of me, what's going on, help, kind of thing. And they're like, oh, be patient and go and finger yourself and just check if you got the little, cords still inside of you, because it looks like your body might be trying to expel the coil. And I'm just like, doctor, I'm not really in the mood for fingering myself right now. So anyway, I am then trying to be patient after Prawngate. I'm trying to be patient for another week, but like I am just in constant pain, and I feel like I'm probably starting to go anemic because I won't stop bleeding. So I contact my GP and I go, look, what the fuck is happening? I don't know what's happening. And bless my GP, she gets me an appointment for an ultrasound just to make sure that the coil is where it should be. And I'm like, thanks. I go to get the ultrasound done, and I'm like in pain and all this stuff. And by the way, alongside this, like parallel to this, is a whole other thing that we won't go into really, but might be making an appearance, in my horror comic blood a little bit, which is also my anxiety and stuff like that, like my mental health struggles with certain things like being in public and, you know, social anxiety and stuff, and being trapped in waiting rooms. I've been in a lot of waiting rooms lately, so I've had a great time. But anyway, so that's just on the side, and we won't go into that. So anyway, I'm going to this this ultrasound thing, which was an interesting experience as well, because it's like a conveyor belt. They're just like, okay, next, and I'm like, fuck me, man. So I go in, and I get sort of turned around like a slab of meat. Because they were like, oh, have you had one of these done before? And I'm like, no, I've never had an ultrasound done anywhere here before. But I'm feeling a lot of pain. So I basically laid it on to the nurse. I was like, in a nice way, I was just like, yeah, I'm just in a lot of pain. Like, it's like, it hurts everywhere around here. And I've been having like a lot of problems with, you know, my guts and things. So I'm not sure like what's happening. So for free, essentially, my the nurse did more scans, like ultrasounds of like my kidneys and everything at the same time. So the good news was that the coil was exactly where it was supposed to be. And I was like, oh, cool. So I could see it on the little screen. They were like, there it is. And I was like, oh, hello, coil. Lovely. It hasn't been expelled. I haven't like shat it out or anything. It was still there. So what the fuck's going on then? Why am I still in pain? Why am I bleeding? So they were like, okay, cool. We'll send off these images to your doctor. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I head home, kind of happy that the coil is there, but still a bit concerned about what's happening. I think I actually go live as well. I can't remember. Live on Twitch. I can't remember. But 2 hours after this appointment, where I basically thought everything was fine, I get a phone call from another doctor who I've never spoken to before, who tells me that they have found a large mass on my pelvis, and I need to be fast-tracked to hospital because they need to make sure that it's not cancer. So I've gone in the span of 2 hours from, oh hey, my Marina coil is there, it's all good. Maybe I've just got a longer settling period to, bitch, you might have cancer. And I'm like, oh, wow, this sucks. By the way, you have a comic convention in 2 days. Have fun. So I have a bad time, obviously, because I don't know about you, but if you hear someone say, oh, it's very unlikely to be, but we need to rule out the possibility of cancer, all that my ears and my brain hears is the big C word. That's it. So I've got like the next week, because it took me a week to get the other appointment and stuff. That's fast-tracked. So yeah, so I had like a week of basically being like, I might have cancer. Okay. Fun. Right. Let's try to work with this and, you know, think about things. I'm not gonna die. I'll be fine. Let's just think about things and have fun. Yeah. So I go to a comic convention, and I, side note, if you happen to have met me at Thought Bubble last year, and if I seemed a little bit off at times, that's why. Because I was internally going, fuck. I went and did a talk about what it's like to be a freelancer and stuff. And then I had to not be around on Sunday because I was in a lot of pain. And my husband, who is a fucking legend, actually took over my table and stood in for me and sold at my table for the Sunday. So again, yeah, if you came over on Sunday and I wasn't there, it's because I was home being, you know, sad and stuff. So anyway, I waited that other week. I got an appointment at the big boy hospital. I go there and I get to actually see the ultrasounds, and I see this fucking cyst, which we have now nicknamed Blob Ross over on my Twitch stream. So you can just see that's making like a little dent into my bladder. And I was like, oh, I mean, that explains some stuff, doesn't it? Yeah, the doctor was like, yeah, I can see why you're uncomfortable. And I'm like, uh-huh. And he said that, we need to have an MRI scan done to get a better look at this. But it looks like, because it's 10 centimeters, it looks like this is something that you would need to surgically remove. You have two options. You can either go keyhole, where they suck it out through your belly button, a bit like, sucking those little things out of the boba tea. Or you can have a mini cesarean. Because if you don't want kids, like I don't want kids, then your body says, fuck you. You're gonna have a mini cesarean instead. And you're gonna give birth to Blob Ross. The doctor said that it might actually be too big for the keyhole. So it might be a cesarean surgery that we're talking about here. He also said that it looks like he has taken over my ovary, like on one side, which he was like, if you want kids, it is possible to repair it, but like we don't really know. And I was like, don't you worry, my friend. I do not want children. I just want this fucking thing gone. Like, keep my bladder intact. That's the most important thing. But, I just want that thing gone so I can live my life. But yeah, now I'm thinking like, the cyst is on the right, and the other doctor said that I was leaning to the left. And again, I am not a doctor, obviously, but it makes me think that maybe this cyst was actually pushing my shit to the left, because the cyst is on the right, as I said. But I don't know. That's just me speculating. But we got my results back from my blood tests and everything, and it turns out that it was not cancerous. Hey, so that was obviously amazingly good news. But what this also meant was that I was taken off the urgent list, on the waiting list, down to standard or routine or whatever it's called. And this is where the problems arise. So they basically said the waiting times for surgery and MRI scans are in the months. And I'm here going, okay, I'm going to be needing it to be faster because I can't really do my job. And I need to earn money, because otherwise we can't eat. So I finally got an appointment to have an MRI scan, but that was, I think, about 3 months later. I'm trying to remember now. But yeah, I think, that was in the beginning of January, I believe. So at this point, I have gone through like the entire October, November, December with all of this shit. So, and I haven't been able to do anything. And I finally get this MRI, which was... I have never had an MRI scan before, and I hope I never have one again. We're not going to go into detail about what a fucking traumatic experience that was, because, oh god, that could be an entire different horror comic, being vored by like an MRI machine, not in a sex way. Fucking wish, but no. So anyway, I had an MRI scan, and someone who, as I said, has a lot of social anxiety and also claustrophobia. I told the nurses and things like, hey, I've never done this before. I don't deal well with being trapped in spaces, and again, it felt like being on like a kind of like a meat factory. It's just like next, and no one's really listening to what you're saying. So because everyone's very stressed, and obviously the hospitals are very like underfunded, it's just a terrible time. So I was just kind of shoved into the machine. And they literally like put me on the table, and I'm there going, hey, I've never done this before. I don't really, can I have music? What? Like, I'm just kind of freaking out a bit, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. It's just putting all the slabs on my feet to like essentially keep me still. And I'm like, okay, so I'm being trapped. And then they're like injecting me with drugs. One of them, which makes your vision blurry. More on that in a second. But yeah, so they put me down on this bed, and then, one of the worst things that you can do to someone who can't really breathe when they get anxious is to put a heavy vest on top of their chest that pushes down on them. So that's what they did. And I can only say, God bless beta blockers, because if I hadn't had a beta blocker, I think I would have had a full-on panic attack in there, because they just put me into the machine, and I'm there going, oh God, that I just closed my eyes, and I just had my eyes closed for the entire 45 minutes that I was in there, and it was one of the least pleasant experiences of my life. I got out, and I was, I think, hyperventilating, and not streaming tears or anything, but tears in my eyes, and my body is shaking, and they're like, take a few breaths, and I'm just there going, and then they at this point, because obviously I'm in a fucking state, I can't actually remember what they say to me. So they might have said, hi, do you have someone picking you up? I honestly can't remember if they said that to me. But I put my shoes on and stuff, and I felt like I didn't even kind of get to put my shoes on my coat on. I was just kind of ushered out into the corridor. And this is the point where I am in the, I'm having the, post-anxiety attack feelings, and I also can't see because of the drugs, and I'm there like, oh shit. I wander out of the hospital because I can't see where I am, and I wander onto one of the streets where there are ambulances, and then I think all of the fresh air just makes me go, oh shit, I shouldn't be here. And I sent a message to my dad-in-law and my husband, and they come and pick me up. But I'm having to send pictures of where I am to my husband because I don't know where I am. So that was a whole experience. So anyway, after that, I was told that you need to just wait for another appointment with the doctor so that they can have a look at your MRI scans. And this is where we are now. I've had my local GP kind of poke them and be like, hi, can we have a chat about the MRI scans so that we can get... I don't know if you can hear that. My dog is going absolutely bananas right now. Maybe I'll just eat this. I think. Motherfucker. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to try to talk over the barking dog. So as we stand now, we are waiting for the appointment at the big hospital where I will be discussing with the surgeon about what to do, because now we have the scans. And the problem is that I had my GP poke the main hospital at the beginning of this month. No, actually, at the very end of January. So it's been, over a month now, and no reply. So I am not even on the waiting list for surgery yet, and I've already had to wait a month to, see a doctor. I mean, I haven't even got an appointment to see the doctor. So, yeah, what I'm basically trying to say here is that I have no idea how long this is going to be a thing. It is a bad time. It's a bad time, like very bad. But I've been able to kind of learn how to cope with it a bit more now. So I've noticed that if I don't do too many physical things, I'm actually kind of coping quite well. And if I just have like hot water bottles and things, I can kind of work as normal. But the moment I do anything out of like the ordinary, like I went to the arcade because I wanted to actually have a life for a second that wasn't sitting at home. And yeah, my body did not like me after that. But fuck it, no regrets. I was on the DDR machine and fuck all y'all. Fuck you, Blob Ross. I'm gonna be on the DDR machine. Yeah, I'm regretting that today, actually, a little bit. Anyway, so at the moment, I'm not entirely sure how long it's gonna be for me to get back to normal. So I just wanted to let people know who are, you know, amazing supporters on Patreon and my studio membership, which is on my website. Thank you. That, you know, if I am a little bit slow and like lackluster with certain things, this is why. Like, I am very passionate about making comic books. Trust me, it's all I want to do. It's just that I'm not really allowed to right now because of this shit going on. But you know what I did for this for these few months where shit was bad? I made a fucking comic book about it. Segue. So I have currently a print Kickstarter going for my next horror comic called Blood. Can you guess what it's about? It's about the complications of having your coil replaced. So I took a lot of the anxiety and stuff that I was feeling, and I kind of siphoned it into this comic book, which has been very nice to do. And it's also the first comic where I've gone a little bit heavier on the gore aspect, because I literally had, as I said earlier, photos of the stuff that came out of me, and I was like, I definitely want to use this for something. So some of the gore stuff, I mean, actually no, pretty much all of the gore stuff that's in the comic is actually pretty much photo referenced from shit that actually has come out of me. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you want to see what the uterus walls of a comic book artist looks like, back my Kickstarter today. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's all done by hand with ink and, you know, these types of pens. I've actually got a page right here as well that I'm working on at the moment. Yeah, if you wanna back that and support an indie today, you can. Links in the description, I suppose. I'm gonna try to finish my breakfast. I didn't really get to eat it because I just started talking about my uterus, and then you know, the time passed. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out for a little bit. I hope you found this interesting. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I have a tendency to overshare about things, so, you know, go for it. Until next time, have a lovely time, and save the NHS.